Hi guys, I'm M Pacific, and today I'm gonna be recording a video talking about not Battlefield 1 or what's going on in the game, just like a little topic about small town news versus big city news. But I've talked about this in like all my other videos I've recorded this session, but I've done a lot of recordings where I try to be funny, where I yell, and so I'm gonna try not to yell so much, really kind of keep a normal tone as I would if I was talking to a friend. So, as some of you may know, that I live in a smaller town, like less than 25,000 people kind of small town. So it's not really the smallest town, but it's still small. But I have some siblings that live in the big city, Seattle. So when they get news, what makes headlines is like, maybe big tax changes, or like a big company builds like a bunch of buildings in one area. That's the kind of stuff that would make headlines in big city Seattle. But over where I live, stuff that would make the front news headline is the high school here, because there's only like one high school. The high school team recruits new kids. Farmers market, somebody made X amount of dollars. Like, really, honestly, really insignificant like news stories, like place almost shuts down, or like horse races, there's no horse races here, like car show did well, like, because nothing goes on in this town, but you still got to report about the news. So I mean, honestly, I don't blame them, there's nothing to report about. And really, I think a good part about why nothing really gets reported on is because, at least in my town, when I've tried to look at, like, rent, because I want to live on my own soon, when I've looked for rent prices are kind of high, and then my town the population is mostly old people, and, kind of younger people in, like, their early 20s that might be working one or two jobs in other towns just to try and get by, So really, like, what are you going to report about for old people? Freaking the farmer's market was opened 5 minutes late because someone couldn't cross the street in a wheelchair. Like, that's actually, knowing my town, that's legit something they would put in the newspaper. I'm not even gonna lie. It's like, my town is so insignificant when it comes to stuff. Like, they don't even report about politics or nothing. Like, I don't know, it's just, I feel like my town, it's the way it is because there's like a bunch of old people here. And I totally have nothing against, old people who live in my town, Obviously, it's their choice. They want to live here, and I mean, it's a nice place. There's a lot of ways you could actually retire here. Like, you could retire here in so many different ways. But there's nothing going on. So then it's like, it leads to nothing in the town, like nothing in the newspaper. You read the newspaper, it's all just stupid headlines about like Safeway doing something, Walmart doing something, stuff like that. But then it's like, if you think of real events going on, like maybe someone funds a charity, raises like $10 million or something. Stuff like that doesn't happen here because there's not enough. There's a bunch of old people. And generally speaking, old people don't go out and do as much stuff as young people. I could actually be completely wrong, and something could be just like, oh, businesses try to set up here, but no one hears about them. But, I mean, even now, like, I wouldn't even be surprised if the newspapers put in something about, like, someone built a new building. Like, that was a significant building, not just like a shed or something, but like a freaking house or something. I wouldn't be surprised if the town newspaper actually put in a headline like that, just because nothing goes on around here. I think that, personally, the people in my town, they've kind of, when they were younger, because this town is mostly, I'm gonna say like 60-year-olds. That's kind of the range of the average age of the old person here, or what you could consider old. There's no one really middle-aged or anything like that. I mean, the schools have like no one in them whatsoever, but the old people, I mean, like, they don't have really a reason to do stuff, because when they were growing up, they were doing stuff all the time, you know? So then they're doing stuff all the time, so, oh, it's up to the young people to do it. But then the young people don't want to do it in this town because there's no one else doing anything in this town. It's like, that's an actual scream they put in this game. Are you freaking kidding me? The other day I was playing this game and I heard that. I thought that was just like a joke, but no, that's an actual scream. That's awesome. Anyway, I just think like no young people want to do anything in this town because really there's not a lot of other young people. And when I say young people, I mean like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds even. But when there's young people not doing anything in this town because there's not a lot of other young people doing stuff in this town. And so, like, I feel like when I'm older, right? When I'm older and I'm making more money than, you know, minimum wage, I actually have money to just, maybe I could pay like $800 and rent a place all by myself. I want to start doing stuff in my town because I think my town needs someone or a group of people that lead young people into this town. Because once the old people all die because they're older, you know, that sounds really mean, I'm sorry, but once all the old people are kind of dead or they moved away or whatever, like, there's gonna be nothing in this town. There's gonna be it's just gonna be like, there's people living here. I mean, already, this is kind of the old people here. Okay, I'm gonna say this. Most of the old people here that I've met, they like to complain about stuff not happening and they don't do anything about it, right? They'll be like, oh, there's no place to eat breakfast here. Okay, what are you gonna do about it? Nothing. It's like, how about the town, like everyone in the town signs like a letter or does a change.org petition or something, where like, we ask like Denny's or IHOP to build a place over here because we would all like to go to it and stuff like that. Like, how about we do something like that instead of just complain? I have this really bad preconception of a lot of older people, because of the way that my town is a lot of older people like to complain about everything in this town. They'll complain about stuff, you know, and I think that's why there's not a lot in the news. There's not a lot of big headlines that make people think, because they don't want to piss off the old people. I mean, because there's a lot of old people, but they like to complain about stuff. They like to point stuff out, but they don't really do anything about it. I mean, there's a good portion of people that I think that I know of that would do something about it, about stuff. But it's like, now it's just, I think the news here, as opposed to Seattle, the news is really boring because there's nothing going on. Like, Seattle, there's a ton of stuff going on, right? You got buildings getting built, you got crazy people doing crazy things, you got, I mean, just like, think of if you took the Seattle subway system or something, right? Think of how much news content you have right there. I think that's all the news content that my entire town goes through. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I'm pretty sure that's, like, all the stuff my town goes through would be about, like, the Seattle subway. That would fill up a newspaper easy in my town. But yeah, so lots of small town, I don't know if you guys are from small town, big town, whatever, big city. Lots of small town stuff, it's like, I don't read the newspaper, I don't pay attention to stuff going on in my town because nothing is happening. Yeah, there might be like, this group of old people do like their 30th event at this club for sailing or something random like that. But it's like, they've been doing it for 30 years. Why do you need to report on it for the 30th year in a row? Like, that's kind of sad if you think about it, because that means no one is being innovative in this town. No one's really thinking about doing anything. Just no one's doing anything. I really like this M9 pistol, by the way. Man, I love this pistol, but yeah. So one of my goals is, when I'm a bit of a bigger YouTuber, like, I want to be able, like, YouTube, right? Like, maybe, I would say, I mean, newsworthy stuff, it's only matters about how many subscribers you have. So if I ever get to some big subscriber count, probably around 50,000, if I were to ever get 50,000 subscribers, that'd be absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh. Everyone dreams of that. But if I were to get 50,000 subscribers, I mean, it would be like, hey town, you have someone who lives in your town who has a YouTube channel that's twice the population of your entire town. Like, it's possible for young people to do stuff in this town. They just have to think, you know, lead by example. Be like, hey, I live in this very small town. I created a YouTube channel. It's very successful. More people, like, are subscribed to it than the entire town's population. And, you know, how about other young people do it here? I mean, like, imagine all the things you could do even with 50,000 subscribers. If you had PewDiePie's channel and he lived in this small town, imagine what he could do with that. Like, and then imagine leading by example, like, what that would tell to the rest of the townsfolk. That'd be like, you guys are doing nothing right now, and I'm doing something. Why don't you guys do something in this town? So yeah, I mean, like, Seattle, there's so many YouTubers that live in Seattle that have, like, 500,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers, this and that. I mean, news only cares about subscribers and maybe views, but, you know, obviously I'm talking about my sub count. My sub count doesn't matter. It matters, usually views matter for money. But, I mean, like, there's so many big YouTubers in Seattle, but there's so many of them, like, even a big YouTuber in Seattle is not that important. I mean, it's all about, like, someone's running for Congress, or there's a new governor that has taken away, like, 1 million people's jobs, or something, or a new governor created 1 million jobs. Like, that's a headline, front news headline in Seattle. But here, like I said, farmer's market gets delayed half an hour because cow died. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that actually happened in my town. Like, it's more than a little likely possible that would happen, which is honestly kind of hilarious also, because it's like, I mean, what if that happened in my town? I literally could make a follow-up video to this, be like, hey, remember that thing that I talked about, a cow dying and delaying the farmer's market? It happened. But anyway, it looks like we are going to absolutely decimate these people. Look at that. Did we win by like 500 points? Hold on, I gotta see this. Victory, 1,000 to 451. That's because we're Americans. Anyway, that's it for this video. I didn't actually intend to say that much stuff about the topic, but I guess I did. I feel very good. I feel like this was successful. Anyway, that's it for this video. Tell me what you thought of it in the comments below. If you live in a small town, big city, big town, anything, tell me, I don't know, something that would be super significant to your town. Like, that would make front page of your town's newspaper. Subscribe if you're new, because I will be playing more Battlefield 1, doing stuff like this. I'm Pacific. See you guys in the next episode of whatever I decide to make.